Unseen for generations, a Dyad in the Force.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 94. We are joined by two newcomers to Dyad in the Force, but not so new in terms of being friends of the Dyad and friends of the show. We have a pretty great episode for you guys. We're talking about Andor. Excuse me. I choked on my own saliva. That's disgusting.
Cassian Andor.
Oh, yeah. I do have that. Let me see.
Cassian Andor.
Talking about episode 4 of Andor, as well as introducing a new segment to the show, which is a Fandom Crawl. We're going to take some time to talk about everything else that's happening, because apparently September and October is just like, let's just give you everything. Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, She-Hulk, and Andor. So why don't we start with introductions, and we'll start with Neve. If you can introduce yourself, tell everyone where they can find your content.
Absolutely. Yeah, amazing. So I'm Neve R2She2. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, mostly Star Wars, a little bit of Strange Things, Marvel when it decides to interest me, bit of everything, a little bit of cosplay as well. And I'm just glad to finally be on here. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
It has been a long time
thanks
coming.
for having me. Yeah.
Choco, do you have any of those spicy questions you can ask Neve?
Oh gosh.
Spicy questions. What?
Lightning.
I have spicy questions. Oh, okay. Lightning questions. Come back to me. we'll introduce Jay, and then I'll hit y'all with the lightning. Everyone with the lightning question.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, yeah. I'm Jamal. You can find me at jcomics7 on TikTok and Twitter. I just started a podcast with Young at Lothal Youngling. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. at There Are More of Us is the podcast name. And if you want to find our podcast on Twitter, it's at More of Us Pod. And to do mostly Star Wars. Right now we're reviewing Andor also, but we think as when Andor starts to close out, we'll address other Star Wars shows and other fandoms too. And our main objective is kind of to talk about how fantasy kind of reflects on our reality and all the social issues that we see in Star Wars and what they mean for us in the real world.
Okay. Yeah, we are huge fans of Young as well. She's been on Dyad before. And I do believe she has like dibs on our Rebels Rewind show.
Yeah.
Or did we do that already? No, that was
Yes.
we did. Okay.
Yes, we did.
Things start to fold in on itself when you've ran for so long. We're coming up on our 100th episode, and we're planning a cookout here in LA. For anyone that's in the area, we're gonna have some burgers, some I guess meat, and if people have food preferences, we'll have some vegan stuff as well. We're inclusive here. Choco, did you think of that spicy question for our guests?
It's not anything crazy, but I gotta ask because we have been introduced to two titans of bag fumbling in both Tim and Perrin. Now, I'm gonna make you choose, right? You have to be in a relationship with one of them. Which one are you choosing?
Easy.
Yeah, it is easy. You want to go first, Steve?
Tim, absolutely, without a doubt. Like, he's got the accent going, he's got a hoodie on, like, I can borrow. I mean, to be fair, what he did was in the wrong, but it, like, was kind of out of a weird, twisted protectiveness. But Perrin, oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
There's an ideological disparity there, right?
Yeah. So, telling her that she needs a rest? How dare he? Absolutely not.
Is that
okay. Here's the I'm gonna sweeten it since that was such an easy choice for you, for both of you.
Bix or Mon Mothma?
Okay, so not only are you choosing one of them, but you get to live the life of their respective mate. So you can be with Perrin and you live the life of Mon Mothma and you got those beautiful gowns, like that house was amazing. Or you get Tim, but you have Bix's life where it's scrappy and dirty, but it's honest work.
I'm still going to Ferrix. I don't want to be anywhere near Perrin the Fraud Bertha. No, thank you.
All right, beautiful.
Hey, Bix, we're Mon Mothma.
Bix. Yeah. Sorry, was that to me?
It was for everyone.
Smash or pass.
What are you guys saying? Is it the sophisticated senator on Coruscant, or is it the rugged shop owner?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Mon Mothma.
Interesting.
Yeah, the actress just blows me away in that episode, and if I'm being honest, a little afraid of what's gonna happen to everybody on Ferrix.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's interesting because the Dyad's all about the Bix. I like big
smart
Bix
choice.
and
I think smart
cannot
choice
lie.
either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Neve, did you answer?
I can't. I refuse to participate in that. No.
It's hard.
Not my girls. Not my girls.
You can't refuse anything here.
Yeah. I'm here at 1 a.m. I can refuse what I want to refuse. Okay?
Fair enough. So actually, yeah, I do want to like show people something. And let me see if I can put this up here really quickly. I have.
Also, people in the chat, feel free to put in your choice between the two.
This is something that we are looking to give away on Dyad. We're gonna put up the video soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It is also reversible too. So if you want, you can take Rey on this side and Kylo on that side, and they'd be joined by like these.
Ooh.
It's like a reversible joint set, but this is what we're planning to give away soon. Subscribe to the channel so that when we post the video, you know how to enter, and we'll be giving that away. It's already framed for you and everything. But
Cool.
Yes. Let me remove myself. Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And for anyone who has a Raylo heart, it's absolutely up your alley.
Yes. Wow, I popped in at exactly the right moment. What's up, AJ? Shout out to Darth Man in the chat. Corellia Coffee Works. I just got here and missed the question. The question was Bix or Mon Mothma or Tim or Perrin. And Choco, what was like the follow up to that, to the Tim and Perrin one?
Yes, you're choosing between the two, but you get to live the life of the respected mate. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What's the choices? Oh, choices. Okay. So Kenny chose Bix and Mon. But that's like having your cake and eating it too. That
A little bit.
flies in the face of the question itself. It's like, would you rather $1 million or, a stable job that is a $200,000 a month for like 5 years? And so they're like, I'd rather have $1 million and also make $200,000 every month. Is that Kylo and Rey force break dance fighting? No, they're just doing angel poses.
It is if that's what's in your heart.
Yeah, art's interpretation.
Yep. Okay, does anybody have any announcements? Anything new that you're working on? I know J Comics announced that, there are more of us podcasts with Young. Choco, any announcements you want to get out of the way?
No, not really. Just join me for the high ground on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be still covering Andor and always with awesome guests.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my announcement is that for those in the know who have been in this community for quite some time, next week we have the return of Victoria Vader.
Yeah.
And we're also having Fangirl Meegs on as well. So it's Victoria, y'all, and Fangirl Meegs next week for episode 5.
Icons.
Absolute. And then this next Tuesday's watch party for Andor. We do have a reserved spot that's open for anybody that hasn't been on a watch party. And we have Dex and Download on for that as well. So if you haven't been out to our watch parties, let me know and we'll book you. Don't miss Cal for after the stream. That's right. We'll get to our promo when we get there. But just so you are satisfied, twitch.tv/Cal4 usually streams after Dyad and the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Check them out. Victoria's back. Yes, she is, or they are. Haley cannot miss. AJ says that's gonna be a can't miss. So are you saying, AJ, that none of our Dyad episodes are can't miss? Explain
rude.
yourself. Explain yourself.
Also, AJ, come join us on one of the watch along. We'd love
Yeah. You know that was coming because as guys, we have to choose our words carefully. Like,
if you don't choose your words carefully, you might end up sounding like Kiadi Mundi. That's.
In the past, if I were to say you look cute today, they would say only today. Like, that's not what I meant, but I mean that it's the same as saying this episode's gonna be a can't miss. It's like you mean you can miss all the other ones. I mean, is this a miss episode with our good friend Neve and J Comics? No. Nothing with Neve and J Comics is missable. Crazy. All I heard was I look cute. Thanks. You're freaking. Come join us on Tuesday, man, if you're free. So let's dive right into our first segment, which is Fandom Crawl. What are you guys watching these days?
Right now, all the nerd shows that you named, She-Hulk, Ring of Power, House of the Dragon, and Andor are my top 4 right now.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Just so much going on in the fandom world. What are your guys' highlights this week in terms of those things? Oh, shout out to Connor for the $1 or 1.11 pounds sterling.
I smell profit.
Geordie Jedi super chatted a $1.24 ramen drop.
Thank you, Connor. Neve, is everything okay with your connection?
It's dropping in and out, but we're fine. We're vibing. I'll be here when I'm here.
Okay. We'll just go with that. So also shout out to Connor for being a Dyad Squadron member for 16 months, and Chris, Star Wars lawyer, for being a member for 15 months. Hello, what have we here? If you're not following Star Wars lawyer or Geordie Jedi, go follow them. They're great folks.
Yeah, definitely.
So some highlights. We'll start with House of the Dragon.
On those shows. Oh, are we back?
Oh yeah.
We're all just having issues today, aren't we?
Yeah. Sorry, I must have spread a bug or something.
No, this usually happens. I've tried everything.
Also, I just want to say shout out to Padawan's podcast. They do watch-alongs for House of the Dragon, in which yours truly will be there tomorrow evening, whenever the show airs. I forget what time.
Also, I forgot to mention in our announcements, Beings of the Galaxy, Star Wars Narrative Podcast, Darth Choco's episode just dropped this week. So go check them out on Spotify and listen to that.
Yeah, and it's wonderful because you can drop in if you haven't heard all the other episodes preceding it. I mean, it'd be nice if you did, but check out this one. I actually Vanessa's performance started to get to me a little bit. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great narrative podcast. Go check them out. So before technical hitches just decided to drop us, just snowball us. I believe I was asking what was your highlights for House of the Dragon, right?
Ooh, I think just seeing the increased tension between Alicent and Rhaenyra, just really seeing that boil to its worst point has been my favorite part of the time jump so far. I know a lot of people are hating Alicent right now, but if you're asking me, I'm not Team Alicent in any way, but I think her dad's advice about her kids potentially going to be killed by the kingdom if she didn't have more of a war fitting and protect her line, I think that would 100% happen. Because people would call into question Rhaenyra's right to rule, and that would put Rhaenyra in a situation and her allies in a situation of killing her kids. So I kind of get it. I get where Alicent's coming from.
Yeah.
If I'm being
I have to say though, it was the time jump was pretty jarring. I miss young Rhaenyra. That actress was really good, and like we had a connection with her, and so like kind of starting a new time with the new actress as Rhaenyra. It's like you're trying to like see or get that feeling from them, but it's a new face and a new voice. So it was definitely jarring. What about you, Neve?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think they're also fantastic as Rhaenyra, but it's the same thing of just that jarring, like you said. Like, I feel like surely they anticipated how popular the first like gods were going to be as Rhaenyra and Alan. Like, maybe they could have done a full season, but then maybe they were worried about losing people for season 2 if it was a whole new cast. I don't know, because they've cut out a lot to do the jump as well from the book.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested what the thinking was behind that. I don't know.
Shout out to Cal for being a member for 15 months and Harith for 16 months. Young Jones says Millie did so well. She did. I thought she was like perfectly like rambunctious and rebellious. And it's so weird because like I believe the actress is even old enough to play the jump, isn't she? Like,
that's one thing I find weird, especially jarring about time skips, is when some actors change and the others don't, and you're like, all right, so your skincare routine is fire, but like, what happened over here?
Matt Smith has not aged a day. He's looking good.
that's so true.
I mean, for me, I love that. I love the choice to make like Laenor and like that family line black, because it becomes extra apparent when these kids come out and they're like, it's not, are you gonna say it? Is someone gonna say it? Like, you know, I think that makes it extra pronounced, and I just think that's a cool and a funny thing. But the time skip also made us and by the way, I'm all for time skips generally, as long as the time that we're skipping is like the uneventful portion of peace where we're not going to get changed, right? And we can draw the line ourselves. But I feel like Daemon was like a casualty in his wife. We didn't really get a chance to like get to know her as this badass dragon rider, and like Daemon was like at least a semi-dutiful husband for a while, like, and we just missed all of that. I don't know, that did kind of bother me.
Chris says that the full Ant-Man D23 trailer leaked. Was that something that was behind closed doors?
Yes, that was only available at D23.
Oh, I don't like leaks though. Is it did a higher quality version leak? I'm gonna wait until it drops officially. You know, because that way I know it's gonna be like 4K and I can put it on the big TV. Serious question: what do you think of Luthen's collection, and how do you suppose he acquired such interesting items? We'll cover that later when we get to episode 4 discussion. Right now we're in Fandom Crawl. We're just going through all of the other stuff that's going on because there's so much stuff that's going on. What about Rings of Power? Are you guys up to date?
Yep.
Right on. So, are we in agreement? Morfydd Clark is like the most beautiful being on Earth when she's looking out off into the sunset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's funny watching every character on this show just immediately have a crush on her when they see her.
This is true. I mean, like, Adam Theater was like, that's the commander of the Northern Armies. Like, absolutely, like, smitten immediately. And like Bronwyn was like, hello, I'm here. But it's so funny. The episode went super hard, and I think it was at a point where it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if you all heard the Battle of Pelennor Rohirrim theme when they started riding across the field with the towards the Southlands. It was, to me, every time I see horses riding across a field in urgency, I just go, you know? I'm wondering if I'm the only one.
Yeah, I'm not deep enough in it to recognize that specifically, unfortunately. Also, I will say, I think you know, I've seen a lot of thirst for Halbrand also looking into this.
You mean Sauron?
No, I think he's just talking about thirst, right?
No, I mean you specifically, you know, mentioned her just being gorgeous, which is, you know, Galadriel is absolutely a knockout. But I'm just saying, there's been a lot of my feeds have had a lot of people feeling that way about Halbrand as well.
This is true.
Arendir is just a freaking badass, and I love him.
Yeah, his action sequences are my favorite in the show so far.
Oh, Arendir is top tier. Sorry, I laughed because Young said that when horses run across the field, I turn into Peter Griffin. No, that was me. That was me doing the Rohirrim theme. But I guess it did sound like Peter Griffin.
It sounded exactly like Peter Griffin.
Okay.
Specifically when he's like in the Millennium Falcon and he's doing the
Yeah, that's true. So I'm assuming you guys have your theories on who Halbrand is.
Mm-hmm.
I
am firmly in the he's Sauron camp. I know a lot of people don't like that. Some people don't, but I just feel like a lot of the lines he says on the show, if you like look at it through the lens of that, they just have that shadow of it. Like the first time they pick her up in the ocean and they're debating, oh, she's not that deadly. So I think Halbrand says looks can be deceiving. And there's a lot, you don't know what true evil is. And I just really think, praising him, he's the king of the Southlands. Well, we know eventually who's going to be king of the Southlands. I'm feeling it. I think he's Sauron.
So he's a Southie.
Yeah, he's Southie.
So, okay. I'm on board with everything you just said, except for two things. One, what the hell was he doing in the ocean? And two, the conversation he had with Galadriel about... you know, I don't see Sauron and flirting being a part of his you know, methodology of manipulation, you know. I
don't know. It's one of the strongest forms of manipulation. You know?
It is, and I'm saying it could be, but like for me personally, with how he's described as, you know, his human forms and how he's described in the books, they could always change this, but it seems like, you know, he manipulates through very human flaws, and I felt like the connection between Galadriel and him was authentic.
Which makes it even more manipulative, even more sinister.
I'm in the same camp with you, because when he meets up with whatever the guy's name is, I forget.
Adar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Their interaction is what tipped it for me, and he's like, you know who I am, right? Because you know, Adar said that he killed Sauron. And so if that was their relationship where he got the upper hand and then, you know, he left to go, you know, lick his wounds, regain some of his power, and he comes back, you know, I could see that as well.
And yeah, and when they do have that conversation, when he does ask, do you remember me? I didn't take that as him asking that to see if, do you remember the people you took from me? It was more of Sauron making sure his cover story is still in check. I think Adar does believe that he killed Sauron, and I think Sauron Halbrand is using that. And he was just wanted to make sure that, yep, cover story's still in check. You don't recognize me in this form. That's
a compelling argument. I'm about.
Oh, you're the king that was promised. Yeah,
king of the Southlands.
I'm about 20% there. I still think Halbrand is authentically the king of the Southlands, but we'll see. Neve, do you have any opinions on this?
I just wish I was as into it. I'm enjoying it, but I think on the level of being in that world again, I don't think I'm invested enough to be theorizing like you guys, but I really wish I was. I wish I was in that deep. But I think my little nerd brain is so overwhelmed at the moment that it's having to pick and choose what to fixate on. And at the moment, Middle Earth, Westeros is getting pushed to the side a bit. I'm purely Star Wars at the moment because my brain just won't handle it. You're saying all these names and I'm like, I did watch it.
Yeah, I can't remember the names yet myself. I'm having trouble. So
completely valid. Yeah.
What about She-Hulk?
Oh, I'm loving She-Hulk. I'm really, really enjoying She-Hulk. I didn't think I was gonna be that first because Marvel generally I've kind of been a bit disillusioned with for quite some time. But I'm loving it. It's just so much fun. It's so thoughtlessly fun, and I think that's exactly what not just Marvel but a lot of these franchises are needing at the moment. So I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, I said this in a previous live on TikTok, and I guess I'll say it here. I think we need to normalize normal MCU shows. I don't think with the purpose of building a world, a universe, an interconnected story with people, with a world that feels lived in, we need to normalize shows that release for the sake of showing us that world rather than for the sake of introducing another villain and another conflict. And although She-Hulk does have the seeds for setting up a conflict, it's every episode is just Jen's life, and we don't have to have this big battle or this big conflict all the time, where we're constantly asking, where are the other Avengers and why are they ignoring this?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I think the show's doing a good job of showing her, getting us to enjoy her normal life, but still having that tension under the water. Because in this last episode, I was going really back and forth on whether the Abomination and his self-help group, if they're in on the scheme or not. It seems like that they're not, but also when they're delete his number, all of them trying to get her to delete his number, just the convenience of let's destroy her car so she can't get away, them standing around the yurt looking menacingly. They did a lot of scenes where I was they could be the bad guys, but they could actually just be there to want her to better herself, and I'm enjoying that a lot.
Yeah. It gives us more time to also think about, these are mutants that we're seeing, right? This is the first show where we're in a world where people with powers exist, and they're just they just happen to be there. And these are mutants. We're clearly, it started with, I believe, Doctor Strange, and then it went on with Miss Marvel. And then now here, we're just getting more and more people, and then I'm waiting for the sizzle at the end of this show to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think this is the setup to have it so that mutants have just always existed, and it's just now beginning to be a problem. And again, just like we saw it with, Professor X and Miss Marvel, that's exactly what we're setting up here. But I really think that throughout her whole journey, she's gonna find out that all of her enemies were actually people she can trust, and all the people she trusted were actually her enemies. So that's gonna be really interesting. And I believe that in an end credit scene we will see the Thinker come back, or sorry, the Leader. The Leader.
Were you getting mixed up with Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
I'm trying to think of whether or not it's the Thinker or the Leader. No, so they already announced that that character is going to be in the Falcon, or sorry, not Falcon, in the next Captain America movie. Okay. So that actor who was in Hulk back in 2008 is going to be coming back into the MCU, and I think this is part of it. I think this is where we will first see them make an appearance, and I think that's the Hulk King that Douchenalza was texting.
Oh, okay. I've seen some other theories that could be Maestro as well.
I definitely don't think that's gonna happen, but that's just me.
I don't know. For what, I'm just like looking at all these videos like, who's that? Okay, that might be him. Okay.
Or maybe it was Madison all along. And it's not what you think.
I miss her.
My favorite character, honestly.
Absolutely.
And Madison is a character I don't think could have been written by a man. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like she was going to fall into a specific trope, and then she just instantly overcame it effortlessly. And I was like, oh, I would never have thought to write this character this way, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I want a whole comic line. I want a whole comic line on her and Wonger's going forward.
Are we calling him Wongers now?
Wongers.
Is that what the kids are saying? Okay. Young says, and I hope that we only get Daredevil as an after credits scene on the last episode. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it looked like, right, in the trailer? But I think he has to, because they announced a show. I think that he has to be in some kind of scene, maybe in the end, but not an end credit scene. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I feel like they don't want to overshadow the show with it. I mean, she's like literally looked at the camera and said stuff like that. This is my show.
Well, that's maybe that's something she could do.
Right.
Like, Daredevil shows up in the scene, and she looks at the screen, and she's like, "This is my show," you know.
I feel like when we see him the first time, though, probably like in a legal case, maybe a legal case against her, right? I feel like that's the first time we see him as a lawyer, as Matt Murdock, and not as Daredevil.
Yeah, makes sense. Just like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it would be hilarious if they get way less than you think, or if the show ends like without him being up, and then she looks at the camera, it's like, oh yeah, you guys wanted to see Matt Murdock. Here's what happened when we met, and then it shows that really quick, and then it's like, anyways, this was my show always, so if you want to see Daredevil, rewatch the old show or watch the next one in a couple years.
That would be pretty cool. Darthman says he will show up. They have to show off her suit, the super one. So are you saying that like she shows off her super suit and like Daredevil has to show up after? He's like, nice suit, and then like that's the end of the show?
Well, I mean, she's in her super suit when he shows up. So yeah, at some point they're going to fight. Oh, and my other prediction is Titania is going to fight beside her. Is not actually the villain or the enemy. She just wants that attention. Kind of like in the comics, their rivalry is just odd like that. So when things start hitting the fan, she's gonna see her as another strong woman and want to support her, even if they're competitive in other ways.
I like that.
Nice.
Okay. I think Neve's itching to talk about Andor episode 4. So let's dive right in to Andor episode 4. Neve, what do you have to say about this episode?
It's just too good. Like, honestly, I don't really know what to say. Like, I feel bad that I keep being invited onto things and I'm like, I don't actually have that much to say other than I just think this show is brilliant. Like, I'm just so pleased with it. Yeah, I have a lot to say, but no way of saying it, really.
Well, let's go through it. I mean, we have, we have Luthen giving, Andor a Kawadi signet, which has a very sizable Legends drop associated with it. But it also gives him another necklace to kind of like mirror Jin's, right?
That's what got me. Cruel.
Young says, "You mean Cassian Andor? You guys asking for it?"
Cassian Andor.
That will never not be funny. I don't understand why it's so hilarious.
We say it every night.
I also I love the pep talk that Luthen gives Cassian aboard the ship, where he's like, in the podcast with Young and I, we were talking previously how we thought the mentor-protege relationship between Cassian and Luthen was like a Ben Kenobi to Cassian being Luke Skywalker and trying to motivate him for something more. But after the pep talk in this episode, Luthen was like, no, you feel that hate, use that hate. That's what should motivate you. So I want to change that comparison to more of a Sheev Palpatine trying to turn Anakin there. He's definitely trying to get him to use that hate as the motivating factor to see more. And I love how it mirrors Jin though, right? Because Jin in Rogue One, the Imperial flag waving above your head isn't a problem if you don't look up. And that's how Cassian a little bit is, even though he has that hate for the Empire. He's kind of apathetic because he doesn't think they can. And it's interesting to think that in Rogue One, he's going to come across Jin, he was like, oh, that was me 5 years ago.
Oof. That's some great stuff right there. You guys...
Oh, it's too much.
It's great. Like you've said, like this show is really, it's blown me away. Like the bar is like set so high, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and it makes Luthen, that conversation makes Luthen a lot more interesting because, we have to keep reminding ourselves that the Rebel Alliance isn't a thing yet. And so, when Cassian asks him and he's like, who are you? It's like, are you partisan, guerrilla front? Are you alliance? Are you separatist? And he's like, those are all the same to me. He doesn't care what he's doing as long as it's fighting the Empire. And yeah, I just think that's an interesting choice because now we're not certain exactly how far he's willing to go, but this also makes him to be that perfect in between Mon Mothma's ideology and Saw Gerrera's ideology.
Yeah.
Also, as an introvert, I greatly related to him putting on his wig and then putting on his talking to people face, and I was like, oh yeah, I know that.
Do you have a
Usually it's me taking a shot and a Red Bull before entering a party.
Yeah. Well, now I have a picture of Choco in that wig.
Oh, all the time.
That emoji is coming to the Discord server. I'm gonna make it happen. Y'all seen Armor Wars is now a feature film? Did they just announce that?
A couple days ago, yeah, but it is no longer a show. It is now going to be a feature film, which is awesome because Rhodey deserves this film. And it's crazy to think because, Don Cheadle is probably the best actor of any main character in the MCU and hasn't gotten a movie yet. So I think that's funny, but I'm all here for it.
Andor is incredible. Who would have thought we'd get those lore drops in this show? I mean, I feel like Tony Gilroy knows the value of a good Easter egg, and striking that balance of not being overt with them and not being overt with like a cameo. So like, we got so much. We got the history behind the Quadi Signet. We got everything, like everything that we recognized in the shop. But that all was so enjoyable to us. But that wasn't the main takeaway of the story, And so we had fun with all of those lore drops. We had fun seeing the Calicori and the armor, and even the world between the Mortis slabs, like. That's all stuff for like fans who knows those things to just enjoy, but also it's like it's not like we're spending 2 episodes with another person that's not the title character of the show. Wink, wink. Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think of all of that shop? I think somebody asked Travis, right, earlier on.
Yes.
What do you think of Luthen's collection, and how do you suppose he acquired such interesting items? So this one actually involves an overt cameo for me, but it's a headcanon. I think Aphra is involved with.
Yeah.
If we get Aphra, I'll lose my mind.
Yes! She needs to be here, and Chloe Bennett needs to play her. I don't. Do you guys have fan cast for Aphra? Have you thought about it?
I feel like I should.
You should.
Yeah, I actually don't. I just want to see it.
You're the biggest Aphra fan. There's no fan cast? You got an Aphra helmet right behind you. Okay. I have to say I'm actually not on that same board. I think no, I think the quote of Tony Gilroy not wanting fan service has been wildly taken out of context, because my reading of it when I initially saw it is he didn't want it for the sake of it. And in the shop, when I look around, I think he's collected all that stuff personally, and I believe that it's because this is the perfect cover for him to find these disenfranchised groups. You know what I mean? If he has the Wookiee helmet and the horn, maybe he visited Kashyyyk because the Wookiees were enslaved by the Empire, and I'm sure he found disenfranchised people there. He has a Calicori. I'm sure he visited Ryloth, and maybe he took that as his excuse to have been there. But the people in Ryloth have been going through it for a long time. Since he had, I feel like so many of the relics are tied to places that the Empire, the Mandalorian armor. There's so many places that the Empire has come in, ransacked, and pillaged, and that seems to be where a lot of his artifacts are coming from. And for that reason, I believe he picked them up himself, with this being the best way to meet people from those groups who are most likely to have the motivation to fight the Empire alongside him.
Counterpoint. He says to Mothma, like, outright, he doesn't have time to do any of this. What's your counterpoint to that?
To do any of what? I mean, he was going out to use it as a regular business. I absolutely agree, but he was still a collector who was going out specifically to find Cassian, but he did it under the guise of looking to pick up this Imperial device. Yeah, I didn't take him saying that to mean he wouldn't go to any of these places. He's going to wherever he thinks he can recruit rebels.
Okay, it doesn't have to be as clear cut as that, though. He obviously has an assistant in the shop too that knows her stuff. You know,
I don't think the assistant leaves the shop though, because that's one of the other things he said is she can get a hold of me wherever I am.
So what I'm saying is that if we were to propose that Aphra is involved, that's not to say he doesn't collect any himself. It's that she helps, because there's a lot in there. And he has an assistant, which means he needs help doing this stuff too. So that's all we're saying. Don't blow up our whole world for, you know what I'm saying?
No, I won't, but I'm surprised. I'm ever surprised that you would want it to be Aphra doing it and not Quinlan Voss.
Well, because Aphra is the one that is the clear treasure hunter. You know,
I could also see it being just like a combination of like a bunch of people, like, you know, willing to sell to the most elegant, famous antique shop on Coruscant.
Yeah.
Quinlan Voss is very aware of that stuff as well. That was his undercover job at the beginning of Dark Disciple.
Yeah. So I mean, in the realm of Aphra versus Quinlan, it makes more sense for Aphra to be doing it, especially since it's how she makes money. I would want Quinlan to be more involved in the path than anything else. But it could be both of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if he used, psychometry to see people handling this stuff, and that is beneficial in finding the right people. But yeah, just throwing it out there. I actually don't think we need any Force users in the show specifically.
Yeah, that's why Aphra. Also, I feel like we will have an overt cameo, and I want it to be Aphra. So leave me alone. Right? Tony Gilroy's not against it.
Yeah.
He wants to use things that will serve the story, and that's what I'm here for. I'm not a fan of the fan service that takes you out of the moment, because in a way that's not relevant to the story.
And I think that's what the show's perfectly been nailing. Like when we have the meeting in the I've loved seeing the inner workings of the Empire in the ISB headquarters, and we have that meeting of all of them around, and they're just dropping a lot of things there's chaos going on Ryloth. We know that's being Scarif. We know Sham Syndulla is involved with Ryloth without having to say Sham Syndulla. We know Scarif with the shadow of the Death Star looming more and more. We just get a lot of underhanded name drops. It'd be that just shows us that the galaxy is huge and there's a lot of things going on at the same time, because the Rebel storyline in Star Wars Rebels is going on this same year.
Oh yeah.
I feel like with Gilroy as well, I don't feel like he'd just drop a cameo in of someone like Aphra unless it served a purpose for the plot. And I don't see how Aphra would really add that much, other than people that already know who she is being like, oh my god, it's Aphra. For the general person watching it, I don't really feel like she would serve much purpose. As much as I'd be happy to see her, just don't see him dropping her in. I don't really see where she'd fit, other than she supplies Luthen with some of the things.
She's actually quite involved in this kind of multiple branching thread, especially in the War of the Bounty Hunters, and just in general where her comic is going right now. But that's a long ways away. I think in general it doesn't have to be a direct involvement. I think AJ makes a good point here. It's a great cameo that won't be distracting, because non-comic readers won't realize it's a cameo. Which is true. You know?
Yeah, that's the other thing when it comes to, it depends on what the camera does, because sometimes like a shot lingers on something as to say, hey, look at this thing, but like the fact that there was just a whip that was encased in carbonite in the back room, and it was never made to be like the main thing, but it was just there, and if you saw it, you saw it, and if you don't, you don't.
No. Has anyone actually questioned if the rebellion has already started but are just adding more into it? This show even questions the canon already established. Maybe Saw was the first rebel to start.
Well, I think it's going on, right? Because 5 BBY is when Star Wars Rebels is going on, and it seemed like Ahsoka is fulcrum already at this point and working with Bail Organa, I think, in 5 BBY.
Yes.
Like that all happens in season 1 of Rebels, which is happening this year of Andor. I don't know what months are in Star Wars, but
that would be
I mean, he says pockets are fomenting. So I mean, the Rebels crew, only Hera knew about any other groups, and they weren't really connected. And even once they got connected, Kanan was often like, do we need to fight with these people? Right. We know that the Rogue One was the first true battle that these different pockets got together to do, and they were against it initially. But yeah, so there's absolutely rebellion, but it just is not is separate pockets. It's not the true alliance.
There's a whole bunch of people just trying to do their own thing.
Yeah,
but I think we're definitely like seeing that skeleton of like greater coordination forming, right? Because Luthen does seem he's like got his hands trying to bridge together different sectors, and like he's not only focusing on the Ferrix, the Primor area, I think, and obviously Mon Mothma is a Imperial senator who's been financing something. So the skeleton of that greater coordination, I think, is starting to form.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then also to the last bit where you said maybe Saul was the first rebel to start the organization. Saul was never in the organization. He's a little too crazy. But what's funny is in the book Rebel Rising, you see he has his own thing, and people are drawn to him because of his personality. He does get a bit extreme with murder and stuff, but you'll see that there is people on his team that start to, they agree with the cause, but not how he's doing it, and they start to defect and join like Mon Mothma's group and stuff. So a lot of them are coming from those places. So I don't know. Depends on how you see it.
Yeah, everything. I mean, this is just a setup for everything to come together at this point. Which begs the question. Mon Mothma says to Luthen, I think I may have someone that can help with the finances because she can't move money around easy. She's being watched, obviously. So who is this person? Bail?
Yeah, my thought was Bail / Abria.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with like
so.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan too, right? They're like constantly on the move and doing things in that book.
And we get some word on how Brea would how she would cleverly move around funds or in order to support things or put ships in places that you'll get stolen and stuff like that. So we know Brea specifically did that intentionally. And even if they were watching over Bail's money, Brea was queen of a planet, a very, very wealthy planet. She can do whatever she needs.
Yeah.
I think it's clever that they kind of brought Bail and Brea back in Kenobi, because I feel like that's just putting them back in the forefront of our minds, especially Brea. So I just feel like it makes sense if that's the direction it's going in Andor as well, just because she's like fresh,
Right.
I'd like.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to see that like we know that there are people behind the scenes, including Mon Mothma, who are funding this whole thing. But what we actually see is just no pun intended, a skeleton crew who's using a model, a tangible a barely made model, like a kind of like Lincoln Log Cabin-esque project of their plan or their heist. And it's not like a hollow table that they would have, like the rebels would have. And so it's interesting to see that as much as they are getting funded, Mon Mothma's words are true to form. Like, they can't just move a whole bunch and like fund an entire fleet right away, right? They have to like start really, really small, and it's evidence in the equipment and gear that they have, which is really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
How did the episode end?
I mean, the episode ended with, with Cassian, and they were just kind of finishing up their plan and, getting ready to move on it. But yeah, I mean, what did you guys think of Space Scotland?
Spaceship.
Do you recognize any
I thought it was really...
Have you been to that area at all?
I can't say I have.
It was shot near Glasgow.
Yeah, I'm like the other end. But I found it really interesting. Like something I noticed when I was rewatching it, like all of the talk of like saving your breath and saving your energy. And I just thought that was such an interesting thing to just throw into the dialogue to kind of like really stress just how desperate these early rebels are. Like, they have nothing but their own breath and energy, and then compared to like the ISB that we saw and all the opulence with that, and then like Mon Mothma and everything, I don't know, it was a little thing that was thrown in, but I just thought that was so interesting. That just really made it feel like such a suffocating fight that they had to remind to like save your energy by saving your breath, as well as basically saying it, shut them up. Like, that was just such an interesting little intricate detail. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Young says Jacob sheep are not canon in Star Wars. They're not. We need to point out the Empire believes that there may be a larger group maybe forming, at least one or two Imperials.
Yeah, there's definitely people in there who are Deidre Miro, who's introduced in this episode, who they're saying, I'm starting to see patterns of maybe like a really consistent type of work happening in different sectors. But I think the main decision makers in the Empire don't see it. Because I think even in Star Wars Rebels, when Tarkin is introduced, even he thinks that like the Lothal, what's happening on Lothal is just a pocket and there's no greater organized rebellion. And I think that's just, the show's getting at the Empire has hubris, and that's their main downfall. They really don't see like that greater organization yet. But there are those people like Deidre
in our moment
Miro.
of glory, of triumph. Yeah.
Maybe they should have listened to Deidre more, and that's a conversation of, Deidre, you're supposed to be competent and tucked away where we can't really hear you. Maybe they should have listened to more women in the Empire.
It's apparent too when you witness Thrawn like psychologically mollywop like 99% of the Imperials that he's surrounded by, and we still get comments like, why is the Empire being so stupid? They're smarter than this. Like, and I just say, no, they're not. That's literally who they are. When you have a TIE fighter that literally takes away peripheral vision, and their argument was, no, we want our pilots to tunnel vision. You're like, there's no hope for this organization. They're surviving purely on their numbers and the sheer power of the Emperor. And so, yeah, I like how Didra is seeming like the only smart person in the room, and then like everyone else is just like, could you just not rock the boat, please? Let's just do our jobs and clock out.
I mean, it absolutely is the Thrawn effect of she's trying to do it right, and then they're like, you're just trying to come after my job. And she's like, no, they will kill us. They are grouping together. You just got here. How is when I got here relevant to what they're doing and the pattern that we're seeing? Like, stop trying to climb the ladder. And you're like,
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know what to. I'm sorry. But this is definitely, or I see it pushing her towards, okay, so they wouldn't give me the full report. Well, I'm going to grab a person that was there. And thus, Didra hooks up with our boy, Ciro.
Mother.
I can't wait for that. It's going to be so fun.
Tell us about that, Neve.
What do you want to know? I got many thoughts. I don't know. I think they made it very clear from press that the two of them were going to be very interlinked. And I think just seeing them in these early introductions, like, it just makes so much sense. I just think it's going to be so exciting. These two people that, you know, really want the same thing and are trying to battle like the same kind of powers and authority to get it. And I just think Cyril, where he is now, like back at home with his mum, like to see someone like her who's wanting that same thing and kind of has that authority for him to kind of use and go after as well. Like, I think that's just gonna be such an interesting dynamic. I'm just very excited to see it, really.
No, it is an interesting dynamic. I think the two of them, one coming from like the corporate sec, and then like the other coming from the Empire, there's going to be very, very different kinds and different sensibilities of justice where they're from. And I think Cyril wants justice, but also does, like, you know, you can see it in his expression throughout these episodes. Like, some of the stuff that they do in that town isn't exactly what he thought was going to happen. He thought justice was going to prevail, but like they're like, he can clearly see that this is like overreach, you know, and it's severely affecting people's normal lives. So he's coming from like, I want to serve justice, but I feel like we are not going about it the right way. And then he's met with the Imperials, and then he meets Didra, who wants to get the job done, who doesn't want to just clock in, clock out every day, who is doing her job, but maybe her sense of justice, as strong as Cyril's, is not going to mesh well with each other.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to see her do something.
Yeah, I think he's just such an interesting character that's really representative of the show in general. And I think it's that whole idea of like him and Cassian being like mirror of each other. So I think he's someone obviously leaning more Imperial way than Cassian is, but he's someone who's like right to be swayed by any kind of ideology. Like, he's not Imperial yet, even though he's very imperially swayed. And I think him seeing Dedra and how she goes about it, he could go one of two ways. He could either be like, this is how justice is done, this is how I'm going to get it. Or maybe he's like starting to question, you know, just what that means. And like whether maybe he should start leaning the other way. Like, I just think he's representative of the whole show, which is like, what does it take for someone to commit fully to either? So I don't think he's quite that way yet. So I just think it's just going to be so interesting to watch, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that, I agree with that completely. And just on that line of people being impressionable and their thoughts on the Empire, we didn't talk about him too much, but Mon Mothma's husband, just the vibe that like he gives off for me is.
We don't need to talk about him.
Yeah, I'm sorry that wasted the breath on the man.
Why does everything
But he's just
so
completely
apathetic.
boring. Just completely apathetic to what's going on. Why is everything so sad and boring? Like at this dinner party, I can't wait to hear him like his apathy towards, I don't know, Order 66 or to both sides of Order 66 or something.
Yeah.
And knowing that shot, the one shot from the trailers that got me so excited for the show was that shot of Mothma walking away at the party and like her smile falling. And now knowing that that's him that she's walking away from, I love it. I love it. It's so brilliant.
Yeah,
So
really
good.
excited for the party. I know they dropped. We were talking about Force people showing up, and they dropped that Sly Moore was invited to the party, and I'm pretty sure that Sly Moore is at least Force sensitive, and specifically has the ability to manipulate minds to reveal secrets. So I think Sly Moore is a very interesting add to the party.
Yeah. I will say though, later on we find out some interesting things about Sly Moore.
Comic things.
Await the dawn. So you never know, but when she walks away from the party, I feel like the subject is they're gonna be like, guess where I was on January 6th, and she's like, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh man. Okay, do we have any final thoughts on Andor? Maybe any speculations moving forward before we head into our decompression segment?
I think I'm interested in this like rebel group that they've introduced. I think that's like a really nice parallel to like a certain rebel group that Cassian might meet later. And I think just that whole thing of like, they've been sleeping on the floor, they've been eating leaves, they've been doing all of this. Like, they just seem so cut away from the rest of the rebellion. Like we were saying earlier about whether the rebellion's formed or not. Like, they just seem so isolated, like so in the wilderness, that it's just really paving the way of like, how are they going to link up with these other guys, like all these other pockets? Like, how is that going to happen? And like this little like spy mission that they're going to have going on, like the espionage that we've all been waiting for. Like, I think it's just going to continue being as good as it has been so far. Like, really exciting.
It's gonna have remnants of like Solo, the train track hit that they did. It's gonna be great.
I'm really looking forward to see where the family drama with Mon Mothma and Perrin goes, and specifically, I think we got a drop from the actress who plays Mon Mothma that her and Perrin have a daughter. And in the trailer of Andor, we see Vel, who's the leader of the Aldani group, in Mon Mothma's home, arguing with her, justifying that they're fighting the dark, fighting the Empire. And I think it was like a heated exchange. So I think Mon Mothma isn't full. I think that's her daughter. I think Vel is her daughter.
Oh my god, you blow my mind.
There are some similarities that they look familial. And I think Mon Mothma isn't on board with the way that her daughter is engaged in fighting, and I would like to see that. If that theory's right, I'd love to see that trio family drama.
Well, that's interesting that she wouldn't be supportive of it, or at least like not from the lens of, probably from a lens of like a mother, like I don't want you to risk your life, but she is funding Luthen, Luthen is working with Vel's cell, so she knows for sure. Definitely.
But she doesn't have the blood on her, doesn't have to see the blood, and she might be afraid of her daughter having to be in that line of the rebellion.
Yeah, for sure. I think Vel, a final thought for me, Vel gives me Ygritte vibes. You know nothing, Cassian.
Yeah, definitely.
Johnson
and
Dor. You know nothing.
I think that well, for one thing, I'm actually really excited to see this astronomical meteor shower thing. It sounds like it's going to be beautiful. I also can't wait to see, because the third episode, I think, is going to tie together both storylines, and I feel like it's going to be escaping in a small window of opportunity, and that's going to be the connection between Mon Mothma and her situation in this one. But I'm just digging it. I was on the Salam Nerds podcast, and when he pointed out She's like, yeah, there was no action at all in this episode. I was like, there wasn't? Because this episode was tense, like is all get out. And that's just a testament to the writing, you know. If all you want is lightsaber go brr, I can see how you find this boring. But like, damn, this is deep. Just the character work is incredible. Luthen's intensity ramping up and ramping down and becoming whoever he needs to be in any given situation, phenomenal. I'm just on board. I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Yeah, I think the show.
And that's exciting about the action next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think the show is on track to at least be nominated for Emmys. I mean, more so than any other show. I love all the other Disney Plus shows, but Andor is really something special, and that I didn't even expect. Because I'm a Jedi Force lore guy. My favorite character is Yoda, and you know, sometimes I do like lightsaber Goldberg, but this show is
that's okay.
Yeah, but this show is giving me something. Really, it's been really something special. AJ says, have we confirmed whether the timelines match up for Cassian and Han to be on Mimban at the same time? So Han, Cassian is 4 or 5 years younger than Han.
Something like that, but the timeline does match up. There is really only 2 separate campaigns on Mimban, and he would have had to have been in the second one, which would have been the same one.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking when we were watching it, but I couldn't really line up the two with their ages. But it's very very possible that they were in the same one. But yeah, on to episode 5, on to the meteor shower on Aldhani and the big heist to take everyone's payroll.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. We are now
sneaking in there to steal the QuickBooks files.
We're now headed into our winding down decompression segment where we play Pictionary. So don't worry, guys. We're all using mice or our fingers, depending. And
oh god,
everything's gonna be horrible. We know. Our guesses are going to be equally horrible.
Confirmed.
But this is, you know, after a long discussion, we like to play this. So here we go. I'm going to post it in the very same thread that the call link was in. That is the link to the game. And for those of you watching at home, I will update this screen. And here we go.
Just a heads up, whenever it gives you a choice.
Oh, you got an ad?
Yeah. Whenever it gives you the choice and you have to pick what you're going to draw, make sure you pick it really quickly because it's a very short time period where you can. So just a heads up.
I think I had to lower my volume for a very loud ad, so I missed whatever helpful advice that was.
Oh, so when it's your turn to draw, it's going to give you 2 options. Choose quickly, because then it'll just skip you.
Okay.
Welcome to the game, user 825.
Hi. That's me.
Okay.
Is that French?
I probably will pronounce it Umti. I think that's how you say it. But let's get started. And it's wow. Okay, fine. Give me that.
Fair warning, I will only be drawing stick figures. All right, don't laugh at me. I'm very self-conscious.
I forget how they look.
Oh my god, what are they called?
I'll give you guys hints. You guys have the P. And don't look at chat. Don't cheat with the chat, but the chat is onto something.
Uh-oh. Are they all Star Wars? Is that what everything will be?
This is
Yes.
all Star Wars. This is Star Wars Dictionary.
I'm just not spelling it correctly.
Oh, I'm not good at this.
What? I'm pretty sure that's how you spell it. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Cal says I can't play this with them anymore. Yeah, you can.
I spelled it wrong like 12 times.
The answer is apostrophe.
How did I get that? Of course.
I forgot how they looked specifically, so I was going for silhouettes.
Oh.
Sorry.
I don't see Brandon in the game. What do you mean?
And we just type our answer in that answer here and press enter, right?
Yes.
Yes.
On the answers portion. Why is this There you go. No? One second, guys. There we go. Game's on screen right now. He's starting. You guys should start seeing it on the stream now.
Oh, completely wrong.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Should have waited.
So this one
Oh no,
is...
keep typing stuff in there.
Okay.
Okay. It's a High Republic question. It
Oh my
was
God.
Skier. He's a Trandoshan Jedi with a yeah.
Here we go. It's J Comics' turn. The
Sorry,
land
my
before
cat is
Star Wars.
aggressively scratching.
Oh,
He comes from the great beyond.
Little tuxedo cat.
Oh,
Done.
Yeah.
Steve, do you read the High Republic?
what? No, I don't. I've been exposed. I've read the first one.
He should be played by Dwayne the Rock Johnson in live action, if that helps.
I feel like we should give it to her. It is Geode, if you know how to spell that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I haven't read the High Republic stuff, but I just see a lot of Geode memes. I want to get more into High Republic.
Oh, God.
Dr. Aphra is also coming to Galaxy of Heroes. Wow, okay.
Okay. Well,
That means you have to create a team
Correct.
around her. More character than Boba Fett before his show, guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although Boba had slightly more lines of dialogue. Slightly.
Oh, this could be so many people in the Star Wars universe.
yeah, I know that's like so vague.
Is that Palpatine?
No. Maybe. How else could I? Oh,
That's a great guess.
wait. Why are these colors not the colors I'm picking? Okay. What else can I? Come on.
Wait.
Wait, did I?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
It's not bad.
no.
It's
I-
escaping.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
How else can I?
Oh,
Okay,
gosh. Okay.
Nice. Yeah. I should have waited for the lightsabers.
Oh, Jesus. How do I
Scratch
how
now?
do I
Yeah.
how do I draw this?
Yep.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't want to guess too soon.
I forgot how to draw them. Choco got it.
I don't know how.
Literally, that's all I'm thinking. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
That is
Queen
Queen
Julia.
Julia.
Julia, I got Julia. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
I gotta look up a picture of Queen Julia. I totally forgot how she looks. Like the head.
To be fair, that wasn't that bad.
I think this.
Oh, I was right. She has like pointy headdress.
Ooh.
Okay.
How did you do shapes? Like, no.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Premium.
Oh wait.
Is that Yoda hanging upside down?
A little bit more confirmation, but I think I know. Yeah. Yeah?
Really?
No, I see it. I see it.
Let's see. How does the hint thing work? Jesus, I don't even know how else to. Okay.
Oh my god, I was literally typing that. Human. That's pretty good.
I mean, I see it now. So the hints you could only give out when the bar is yellow.
Who? Wait, I need to look up this person real quick. Oh. Okay. 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 Let's see what we got here.
Is it Yoda hanging out on the ceiling?
Apologize.
Oh yeah, here's a Choco sad emote I recently added.
Sorry.
It's a happy person.
I'm so happy.
What else can I do for you?
Old.
That's all I can do for you. I'm sorry.
Trying to think of someone with a cape.
Older.
Older.
What was the answer?
I just tried to type Terra Sunube. Who
what
was
was
it?
the answer?
It was a Elzar man.
Older. Okay.
Yeah, not an
Older in time
Yeah,
and past.
yeah.
Okay.
Nedrex says
trick
best
question
drawing
there.
so far.
Thank you. Oh,
I want to go up.
I loved you.
Oh, that's a great drawing. That's a great drawing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm gonna feel so embarrassed.
Think broad. Think what's happening.
Stop in the name of love.
Shout out to Neve, who's got a. Is that a Samsung? Shout out to Neve.
It is Android.
What's happening, Jay? What's happening?
I am.
That's a brilliant drawing of what's happening. Come on.
But yeah.
I am the Senate. Come on.
Well,
This
yeah.
is a force push, you know?
Fair. I was like specific scene.
What? Okay. I'm just going to give you guys 2 hints on this one because.
Oh God.
Zillowbees? No. Oh yeah. I don't know if I'm spelling it right.
Well, you can see it's 5 letters long,
Yeah.
and there's no letter B in it.
What's your name? There we go.
Chat's got it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yee.
Technically, no one in chat has it.
I mean, yeah.
No one in chat has spelled it right, but they know it.
I like my drawing.
I like the addition of the goggles. That's the goggles, right?
Yeah.
He had kind of a Jufro going on there.
Nice.
All right. Yes, it was Niobe. And that was Obi-Wan riding on top. Okay. So that does it
awesome.
for
Good
Star
job, guys.
Wars Pictionary. I hope you guys had fun with that short little game.
Yeah.
I think the best picture by far, Force Push. I got that immediately. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm partial to my own Newt Gunray, if I do say so myself. No, I'm
Pretty
kidding.
good.
Partial to Geo too.
Geode was perfect. As soon as I was like I could have got it within seconds, but I was like, no. Oh yeah.
It's a sex symbol.
I was latched onto the upside down Yoda. I couldn't think of anything else. But yeah, why don't we go around, give everybody the info on where to find your wonderful content. We'll start with Jay this time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find me on at Twitter and TikTok at jcomic7. There's a K in there, and it's exactly where you think. Young and I just started a podcast, There Are More of Us. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can find the Twitter page for There Are More of Us on @MoreOfUsPod.
Right on. I do have a graphic for you guys. I haven't had a chance to add it. So that'll definitely be there for next week. Sorry, young.
Appreciate it.
Jay. And then we have Neve. Where can people find you? And I do want to think of another lightning round question for the both of you. So go for it, Neve.
So yeah, you can find me at R2She2 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. They're all linked on each other. I keep plugging a podcast that doesn't actually exist yet, but I promise I am going to start one. I promise. I've said it now. It's got to be done. So yeah, you can find me there. I'll probably go on TikTok live when this is done for another 2 hours until like 4 a.m. So if you want to hang out there, then find me there. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's always a great time.
One thing I do love is last time we had Young on, she talked about a potential podcast that was going to be formed, but there was no name, and then we've gotten to see this kind of evolve and become one in real time, and we're about to see another one with Neve. So can't wait.
Talking it into reality is like half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pressing record is half the battle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I haven't been able to think of a lightning round question. Okay, listen. Well, let's get creative here. If you could create a new lightsaber weapon that is not a sword, what would it be? And this one goes out to the chat as well. Young says, "Your podcast will happen, Eve."
Thank you. It will. Speak it into existence. Thank you.
Right off of the bat, Young says a boomerang. I don't know how that would work.
I guess maybe like, you have like the hilt is like in the middle, and then there's two so you can grab it like where it corners. Go it that way and take it, return it with the force.
Or perhaps like the ends of the wings are like grips, and then like the curve.
Also, yeah, because
it's
it
like
hits
the
at the angle.
lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I was always really into like Hunger Games in high school, so I feel like some sort of like archery thing. If you could make like kyber bolts, you could like load them into like a crossbow or something. You could just fire them.
So that gave me a really, really extreme picture. You know how in Vision, if you've watched Visions, you watch Ninth Jedi, you know how they use the focusing lens to control the length of the saber, and it goes really long. You can make a lightsaber bow that has a fixed range, but when you shoot it, the saber just comes out for like 200 feet and then like retracts really quickly.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So it's just going, you know? I think that would be really cool. You wouldn't need bolts. It would just be kind of shooting out the lightsaber really quickly at a really long length.
I think for mine, I'm gonna go a little Assassin's Creed style, and I'm thinking 2 gauntlets where you have like little, like, probably not good in a like saber fight, but like for assassinations, like little saber blades coming out of them. Yeah.
So that's there's someone in Legends who like has sabers like on his knees and on his elbows. It's so dumb. It is so dumb, but he's like, what are you doing, man?
That's funny.
Do you remember all of the Force Awakens trailer like edits where it was like Kylo Ren taking out his lightsaber? People just kept adding things all to it.
All right, so for me, I'm picturing some type of like flail type weapon where you would need to make chain links out of like Beskar. But you have a weapon with a chain, and then on the end of it is something that has shorter lightsaber blades, but maybe multiple. And so you swing and you can hook that around stuff. Like, you can't block that thing. Like, what are you going to do?
That's pretty cool.
pretty
And I
cool.
feel like the Beskar and the lightsaber touching each other, it would like always be like sizzling.
Mhm.
That's also very, very true. A nice little effect there. Nedrex says lightsaber shield Predator style. And if you haven't seen Predator yet or Prey, watch that movie.
Prey was great.
It's a great
Love
movie. Kenny said a hammer, and now all I can picture is someone with like a huge square gash in their chest because it just went right through, but it's a square.
Like it's a terrible hammer, but it murders good.
Everything I try to hammer with it just disappears. So like the arrow thing in Shang-Chi. I think the one that Xialing uses, the rope thing.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. Okay, thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight, especially Neve.
Thank you.
It is late, but we all know that she's a crazy person and is up until 4 a.m., so it's fine. And Jay for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
When it gets
Absolutely.
late enough, delirium sets in, and that's how it works.
That's what this is.
You come highly recommended from one such young.
Thank you.
And
No, she's the best.
absolutely. And I did after she recommended you, I did watch your content and followed you, and had to have you on. But yeah, I think that's it. Choco, do you have any final thoughts?
No thoughts, just screw Perrin.
Yeah. Screw Perrin.
Right on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Everyone in the chat, Young, AJ, Kenny, Cal, Nedrex, Brooke, who said Neve, and then that was the end.
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah, and then everyone else who tuned in, thank you guys so much. AJ says great episode as always. Right. You don't want to say great episode today because that would mean every other episode was bad. But also, we would like to give a shout out to our fellow podcast, soon to be with Neve as well, and soon to have. There are more of us with Jay and Young. Fulcrum Transmissions every Monday with Sage and her crew. At Fulcrum Pod on Twitter and TikTok. Go follow them. They're great. Pod One's podcast live on Thursdays at 5:30 Pacific with Luke, Char, and Harith, good friends of the channel. Go follow them.
And Chewie.
And Chewie. House of Holocrons every Friday at 5 p.m. Central. Ducks and download on YouTube. Castle Run Relay. I don't know why it's not swiping, but I'll fix that. Oh, okay. We'll just do that. Castle Run Relay. At the beginning of each week, we have with Hayden, Livia, and oh God, don't make me brain fart. Emily, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Beings of the Galaxy, with which the latest episode Choco is in and is dropped and now available. So go check that out and listen to that. It's great. And then, of course, Brooke. Speaking of Brooke, farfarawayfactory.com is where I got my Satil Sean shirt, the only one in existence. Great art, great merch for everything Star Wars and more. And then, new to the family, Sith Face podcast, a tipsy Star Wars podcast with Alanis and Brooke. Who else is on Sith Face, Brooke? If you can clarify.
Alanis. Alanis and V.
And V. Alanis, Brooke, and V. New episodes of Sith Face every Tuesday. So follow them on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, Sith Face Media. And then, of course, finally, our good members of this Dyad Squadron, without which we could not continue to do this week after week. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the family and being a part of this community. and fostering and shepherding positivity and talking shit about people who stand Anakin. I'm just kidding. We're inclusive. We love everyone. But that's the end. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all the Republic.
And screw Perrin.
Mm-hmm.